What's going on there, guys? We're back with another one. So we got to talk about Tyreek Hill and this issue that's going on with his wife. Said she just recently filed for divorce. The mother said that she's scared for her daughter's life after Tyreek was throwing some items allegedly at their home or at their condo, and saying, that she has seen these things occur and that, he was fearing for the daughter's life and their newborn baby. Now, let me say this. Tyreek Hill name has been in the headlines for all the wrong reasons over the last year. And in that same year, he's had, 5 children with 5 different women. That reeks of irresponsible behavior. You shouldn't have no 5 babies in 1 year unless your girl is having 5 children at one time, but just dropping babies everywhere, that I ain't with that. Because that's gonna be costly for him, and that's gonna you shouldn't be creating children if you're not gonna be in the household. You can give them things, but they would much rather learn the lessons from their father. You can't stretch yourself out and be in 5 places at 5 different times. And these kids are all gonna be the same age, so when they get 13, 14, they participate in certain sports and things. You can't be 5 places at one time. You got to think about stuff like that. But I think he's been very irresponsible with that. But also, saying he don't want to be back with the team. And this is why you never burn any bridges. With the things that's been around Tyreek Hill's name over the last 365 days, it could get a little tricky for him as far as when he wants to negotiate a contract or even be on certain teams. Even though he's immensely talented, teams are going to start to look at him like, you can get blacklisted in that league, for things off the field. But we're going to get into this report, man, and see what happened. Let's people.
Battery to the daughter. The subject is the husband on scene.
The call goes out. Police race to the Porsche Design building in Sunny Isles Beach on Monday.
Subject is Tyreek Hill.
The mother-in-law of Miami Dolphins star wide receiver Tyreek Hill calls the cops. The call goes out as an assault in progress.
Subject black male wearing a white tank top.
When police get there, they make contact with Hill, his wife Keita Hill, and their child.
I'm ready for it.
They also speak to Tyreek's mother-in-law, Alicia Vaccaro. Let's get right to the police report. Quote, Vaccaro stated that Tyreek is very aggressive and impulsive, and that he has anger issues, and she is afraid for her daughter. And when she saw Tyreek arguing and throwing her daughter's computer to the floor and later grabbing her granddaughter and start walking with her in his arms towards the balcony of their 35th floor residence, she called the police.
Get out! Get out!
Hill has made headlines for off-the-field incidents. Remember last September when he was pulled over by Miami-Dade officers outside Hard Rock Stadium on game day? Those traffic citations were eventually dropped.
Straight out of the police report, Tyreek's wife tells cops that her arguments with Tyreek are becoming more frequent. When she told him he wasn't involved enough with the baby, she says he grabbed the baby, and she's now in the process of filing for divorce.
No charges in this case. Both parties stated that the argument never became physical, even though officers observed a light redness mark, bruise on the mother's left upper chest, and questioned her about it. She replied that it probably had happened without malice when he grabbed the baby from her. Officers observed that the baby was in good health and good physical condition.
Okay, now this is very important. So the concern here initially, and right out of the police report, it's 35 stories up. And the mother-in-law, was very concerned about Tyreek Hill with this baby apparently walking towards the balcony, and that's why cops were called. But also out of the police report, it says that Keita, his wife, did not want to write a statement about the incident. And Tyreek left the residence in the presence of the police. Much more for you on this developing story tonight at 6 o'clock. For now, I'm live in Sunny Isles Beach, Rosh Lowe.
Okay, so I have a few opinions on this, and I'm just going to share from my experience. Don't make this a blanket statement for everybody that I'm saying, because I know people get triggered in topics like this, but I'm going to say this. I've seen men get the police called on them over next to nothing, maybe after a dispute, and painting Tyreek as somebody that was going to take the baby to the balcony. And basically, you see that meme they remix where Rafiki takes Simba and throws him off the cliff. You know, to kind of portray Tyreek Hill like he was going to try to do that is, I think that's a bit much. You know, to insinuate that you would think he's going to throw his baby off the balcony. You know, you don't want to paint that image of nobody unless you're really concerned about that. Now, the wife is saying that she has a bruise on her chest, but it really just him. She's probably real light, and he reached over and grabbed the baby, which anything could leave a mark, right? I mean, you know, especially above her chest where she would have been holding the child. So it don't sound like he did nothing. He ain't hit her or anything like that. But I would just hope that Tyreek, you know, he's got to be more cautious with the way he carries himself. He's had 5 babies in the last year. And let me say this to the woman. It's your fault too, because a man who has had 5 babies in the last year, you know what I'm saying, you want to marry him that year that he's having the babies. Something about that is about money to me. You wouldn't do that for no average brother. So, you know, getting with him, obviously, you know, to me, it seems like it's a money play. I don't think it's just because you love him that much, you know, because for one, I feel like, you know, if you need to be reevaluating life if you got 5 women pregnant in 1 year. I know it seemed like you flying high, you got millions coming in, but man, you got to live the rest of your life with that money. And those kids are going to continue to need when you're not running a 4-3. You know what I'm saying? When you on your way out the league and when you out the league, obviously you have different podcasts and avenues people can take now going forward. But, you know, your situation with the police earlier this year could have ended really bad. I know people want to make that a black thing and, oh man, they do us wrong, but you can't roll your windows up on them. We trying to get you home safe. We not caring about how you feel emotionally about what should have happened. You need to get home. You had 5 babies last year, so think about them. What's the best decisions I can make to get back to them? Not how I feel in my blackness at the time. Because I'm gonna tell you what, that propaganda and all that stuff is gonna get you shot. You know, trying to appeal or paint an image, you know, because that's not fair to what's my man named Philando Castile and some of those other people who didn't deserve it. You know, you was being a kind of an idiot with yours, and some other people, they got it, you know, unwarranted. So like, we can't compare the two. That's basically what I'm saying. Like, it's not fair to the people that didn't do anything wrong. And yeah, man, so I got a lot to say about this. I'm not gonna be too long-winded though. I would just caution Tyreek Hill, if she is indeed filing for divorce, you don't need to jump in no relationship. You need to sit back, call up your other children's mothers, try to build a decent relationship with them, keep that relationship good, and do for your children. You know, you need some time to yourself. No more impregnating kids, you know. And what he got, like 10, 11, 12, 13, something like that already. So it's time to slow down, man. It's time to slow down. But yeah, man, I've seen people call the cops on people who didn't necessarily need that at the time. If he's throwing property around and stuff that he paid for, he need to chill out with that too, because your child don't even need to be seeing that, even if he didn't hit her. But I'm gonna tell you what, even if you arguing, disagreeing with your spouse, your child feels that, and they internalize those things. They looking right at you to learn how to behave, and that's one thing I would caution him on. Young lady, you knew kind of who you was marrying, you know, with all these children coming in 1 year. So I can't just paint you. I can't paint either one of y'all innocent if y'all trying to say, you know, that's the man for you that's having babies in the same year you marry him. 5 of them. That's crazy. But yeah, man, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Till next time. Peace.